Okay, so what we're doing is we are asking for user input. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable. So this one we're going to call username, and it's going to be equal to input, and next to input will be the question I am asking. So it's both with closed parentheses on both sides and quotations, and then that signifies that this is a string. So it's just basically going to say, what is your name? And if you notice down here, it says, what is your name? So I'm going to enter my name. And if we look at the next line of code, it's going to say print, and then it's going to print our variable. And that's going to hopefully print my name. Okay, perfect. Okay, so just remember, notice that with printing this variable, whatever I input or type in here is what's going to print out. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to look at user input is always accepted as a string by default. So if I put my age equals 37, and then we're going to put user age is equal to input, what is your age? And if we run it, so it closes the console. Okay, so right here, it tells us that in line 13 of our code, there's something wrong. Notice the X here, it's a syntax error, which means that we did not give it parentheses. Got to give parentheses to the print command, so let's run it again. Name. What is your age? Let's say 21. Okay, so it can only, so let's look at what we have down here. We have str, which means string, and then we have int, which means integer. So you can't add a string with a number or an integer. So it's basically like saying buffalo plus 8 or dog plus 4. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. So what we need to do is we need to convert the variable, the user age, into an integer. So how you do that is right before the user age, you're going to type int, and then you're going to put what you want to become an integer in parentheses. So what that's going to do is it's going to take the number that you enter here, and it's going to convert it into a number which you can add to this number. So let's run it again, and let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, so explain what is your age. We're going to say 20. Okay, and now it recognizes that then what you entered here is an actual number, and now now the program will see that it will add to what I have here, which is my age. So 20 that I entered plus 37, which is my age, and the math problem here gives you 57. We just did convert user input to an integer. Okay, so I just showed you that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to copy all this information, put it down here because we're going to work on a float. And what I'm going to do is I am going to comment out all of the work that I know, because it all works, and I'm also going to comment this out. And what that does, if you notice, it keeps everything on the page, but it is now just a comment, so it won't actually run that code. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the program, and the idea behind this is to show what would happen if I entered my age with a decimal point. So what is my age? I'm going to say 34.7. Okay, and it's going to give me an error because as an integer only works as a whole number. It's not working with decimal points. So we need to change and work on that. Okay, so remember, when we look at any kind of error in our program, we can always go back and see where the line is that there's an error. So in this case, it's line 21. So using the number I just used with a decimal point, it is no longer an integer, and in Python, that's now called a floating point number. So what we need to do is we need to change int to float. And when we run the program, it should recognize the number that you put in as a decimal point. So I'm going to click run. I'm going to let it do its thing, let it run through, and I'm going to enter my age of, let's say, 20.5 because it's my half birthday. And okay, so 20.5 plus 37 is 57.5. So just make sure that you remember, if you're using decimal points, that you use float, and if you are using just regular whole numbers, you use int for integer.